One of the things that I love most about being in real estate is that I'm constantly in a position to be able to help people through transition times in their lives. Sometimes those are positive transitions, and sometimes those are negative transitions. But just to be able to help is greatly rewarding. And today I want to talk about a negative transition that has been taking place a little bit more in the current market that we're in. And as I've been helping people through these situations, I'm going to talk about short sales. As I've been helping people through these situations this year, I've come across realtors that have no idea what a short sale is, what it means, how it works, or anything like that. So I'm going to start a three-part series today talking about short sales. And today I'm going to talk about it from the agent perspective, just to help those that may not have been around back in 2008, 9, 10, when short sales and foreclosures were everywhere. And I feel like if I can help an agent successfully navigate through a transaction, I've done my job just as well as if I've helped a seller or a buyer navigate through that. So here goes. Today I want to talk about a couple of things to be mindful of as an agent who's representing a potential buyer of a short sale listing. First thing to keep in mind is that the only thing that is short about a short sale is the fact that the bank is selling the property short of what they're owed on it. Um, in most cases, the seller has to be behind on their mortgage. The biggest criteria is that they owe more on the house than it's worth at market value. The seller does have to be approved to participate as a short sale, and usually that requires proving some type of financial hardship that has put them in a situation where they can no longer continue to afford to make payments on the house. But if they try to sell it, obviously they owe more than what it's worth at market value. A couple of things to be mindful of as you potentially make an offer on a short sale property is, number one, it's going to be an as-is transaction. The way the lender sees it, if a seller has money to potentially put a couple $1,000s into repairs of the property, they're already losing money on their end. So they would rather that couple of $1,000s go towards that balance that they're owed as opposed to making repairs on the property. That doesn't mean that sometimes we can't negotiate and work through situations where some repairs may be necessary in order to pass an appraisal or something like that. But just know that for the most part, the lender is not going to allow the seller to put money into repairs. Also, technically, at the end of the day, the bank is the seller. Yes, the person who lives in the house and the homeowner is going to be the one that the offer is presented to. They're going to decide which offer they accept and then submit to the bank for approval. But at the end of the day, the bank is going to have the final say so on what the sales price is going to be, agents, what commissions they're willing to pay, what the closing time, what the closing time frame is going to look like, all of that kind of stuff. And that is all done after the accepted offer is submitted to the bank. Part of their process, the first thing the bank is going to do is ask the closing attorney to send them a mock settlement statement so that they can see how the numbers all lay out. They will also reach out to an agent that they've got a relationship with in the area and request a broker's price opinion. So the bank does not, on the selling side, the lender does not rely on a full-blown appraisal like a buyer would, but the lender sends out an agent who's experienced in the area to basically kind of do a CMA, look at the property, make comparisons, and tell the bank what the property is worth at market value. I don't know if this still holds true. I'm kind of learning through this as we see these more in our current market. But back in the day, I know short sale lenders used to want to try to get 70 to 80% of what market value is if the property is in good enough condition to warrant that sales price. So I am mindful of that. When I list a property that's a short sale, that's usually about where I'm trying to list it, is at about 70 to 80% of market value based on recent sold comps. In these situations where we know it's going to be an extended closing period, I advise buyer's agents, whether I have the listing or whether I'm representing the buyer, my advice is to write something in the special stipulations of the contract stating that your due diligence periods and your inspection resolution periods, all that kind of stuff, is going to start once you receive the lender approval of the short sale and the price and all those kind of things, because we don't want somebody spending a couple $100s on inspections and appraisals and stuff like that, and then the bank comes back and says, hey, we need $25,000 more than what this offer is for, and that kills the deal and that buyer is out of that money. So make sure you have something in there about when your due diligence period is going to start. And then usually once the bank gets through their process and approves the sale and the price and all that kind of stuff, we have about 30 days to get it closed before they start changing numbers and prorations and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just keep that in mind and make sure that you're leaving yourself enough time once you get the approval to do those things, but also to get closed and get through a loan process if a loan is involved on the purchasing side. So yeah, that's for agents. I hope that helps. The next couple of videos I'm going to make, one will be about approaching a short sale as a seller, and another one will be geared more towards buyers and things to be mindful of and what you got to take into consideration when pursuing a short sale. So I hope this is helpful. Feel free to reach out, whether you're an agent, a potential client, or anybody else that has questions about how short sales work and stuff like that, and I'd be happy to help you. Thanks so much.